Okay guys, here's the next question before I start this video. I'm going to be showing you Ferraris of all kinds of makes, some of them ugly, some of them beautiful, some near perfect. Are you happy with where Ferrari is in the hobby? We've got the exclusive license comes out of China. There are some companies that do some sub-licensing. Tomica Limited Vintage has some pretty beautiful cars. Hot Wheels does not have the license. Do you want to see Hot Wheels get it back? I know there's been rumors. Do you want to see another brand like Mini GT or other brands that have not done Ferrari do them? Or do you like where it's at with Tomica Limited Vintage doing some, Tarmac doing some? You guys let me know. Enjoy the video. Figured you guys can be part of the prep. Let's see what we got. We're looking for Ferraris. I have a few in mind, not one of them. Nope. 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 There we go. These I've been sitting on for a while. There's the one. We'll put this one back. And if we're opening up one, we got to get out all of the others. This is what we want. Hello everybody, this is a Lamley showcase. Ferrari, Ferrari, Ferrari. That is the focus today. Never gonna argue with the opportunity to showcase Ferraris. We're going multi-brand today. Some classics, really kind of a cross-section of where my interests have been lately. So we are going to get right to it. We're gonna focus on two Ferraris today. Ferrari F40, but before we do that, we're gonna focus on probably the most opposite of iconic Ferraris. And we're going with the Ferrari 412. I'm so used to the F and whatever else. Anyway, this just came from Tomica Limited Vintage. Japan Booster sent it to me. This is from, I believe, the May mix. Yeah, it's the May mix of Tomica Limited Vintage. It is another Ferrari 412. There are, I think this is the third. So I'm going to show you one of the old ones. I couldn't find the second one. It's somewhere in my collection, and I did some digging, and eventually I just gave up. But there's been two different colors. This is the black one. I believe the other one is a light blue, and then we're going to look at the new one. This is the classic one right here in black. Well, classic. This is one of the first ones, either the first or the second. Has an opening hood. I'll show that to you right there. All the Ferraris do that Tomica Limited Vintage does, but you can see this is just a very different car. Putting it on the turntable. Got Ferrari wheels on that, the star, 5 spokes. But this was, and the history of this one, this is, you know, them trying to do, and they've done touring cars in the past. I thought, you know, like, could I compare some other Ferraris in the collection to the 412? And there are some that would work. Maybe the FF is a possibility. I think maybe this one, the 612 Berlinetta. That's what it's called, right? Oh, Scaglietti. All right, see, I'm going to get all my Ferrari mixed up. I thought this one might be a decent one. This is from the Ferrari Racers. They've done a couple others. I think they did one in Speed Machines and then a couple in some 5-packs. But I think that, yeah, I think that, you know, the off-the-beaten-path Ferraris, this one definitely goes in there. So we're just going to open it up and have ourselves a look. Not new packaging, but... Oh, going with the tan color on this one. By the way, I white gloved it. I get some grief for the white gloves, but I always mention when I do these up close videos, you go white glove. I think it's just the proper thing to do, and it's for your sake. All right, cream. This would be a cream colored white. I like it better because you can see some details in it, and then you get that tan interior as well, which is absolutely beautiful. Black steering wheel, so you get the two-tone on this, not in the seats, but with the black dash and the tan seats. Something like speakers in the back that are black. We'll open it up. There's the engine, not much different than the other one, right? But still fantastic. Didn't show you the bottom, the double exhaust there too. I'm still working on a new way to showcase my Tomica Limited Vintage, but and I'll get to it at some point. There's a few things that have to happen first. So I get to pull these out occasionally. And this is what I'm trying to do with some of these videos now, because it's just sometimes it's like I'm so focused on Hot Wheels, or I'm so focused on, you know, a particular brand, that there's so many, it's just, why not just show all of them, right? Why can't we just deep dive into the collection? So we're going to do more of this, and if you like it, definitely leave comments. All right, let's go F40. So we're going to start with classic Matchbox, and we're going to go to, and I'm just going to show you the Ferrari F40s that I have in the collection. So this Hot Wheels, I would say, I don't know who did the first F40, but the Matchbox F40, I understand the wheels, these are more nostalgic wheels, but the Matchbox F40, what year would this have been? 1990. The Matchbox F40 probably predates Hot Wheels. I'm not totally sure. You guys can tell me. I'm going to open this one up, but I want to show you another one I have. I'm not going to collect all the 8-dot F40s, but if you remember, the 8 dots are kind of a new obsession. Matchbox Gathering is coming up next month, and I am going to have my eye out for 8-dot Matchbox. 8-dot are these wheels. I'm not going to open this one up. This is a Showstopper set. I may have shown this before, and I will open it eventually, but if you look, like, there's a Porsche set, there's the Ferrari set there, but this is something that, let's see if I can do this. They did all of these different sets. I'm not going to try and get them all, but you can connect them. But once I have a few, I'm going to open this up. I do have the Jag set, but I do want to show you that there is an F40 in this set, and while it looks like the same, it's actually not. Because if you look at the hood of that one and the Ferrari emblem, on the regular release, it's really big. On the Showstoppers release, it's much, much smaller. A little bit more, it's still really big, but much, much smaller than the other one. So I thought that's worth having the two different ones, because I like the smaller logo on it. So that is the Ferrari F40 Showstopper. And then to get a sense of the casting, we're going to open this one up. I'm trying to see if there's any way to do it easily. I got a crack in the blister here. I guess I could. There we go. Well, for display purposes, there you go. Still there. And here it is. It has plastic chassis. Just think about this. This thing has been, this is the first time it's been opened since, what, 1990? So 34 years since this thing has been opened. It's got some paint flaws, might come with age. Still cool though. Look at the engine, the way that Matchbox did the chrome part of the engine, so you can see that in the back, and then the rest of it, you get this just fantastic. I mean, it's really a well done car. They did all these wheels in the 8-dot, but I actually like the concave nature of the 8-dot wheels, so I think that's kind of cool. And of those vintage Matchbox wheels, these are my favorite, and I think this thing looks so good. So they did the 8-dot F40. That was the first one in 1990, but they didn't stop there. They did some premiere versions as well. I actually, you might have seen me digging them out right at the beginning of this video. This is the one I was looking for. They've done several colors. I know there's a red one, this yellow one from the premiere collection. These, they didn't focus on metal chassis, but they did focus on what we know as real rider wheels, but they call them, what do they call them? But there's this version. You can see the engine's even more detailed, if I can get that in the light there. So that one is really, really cool. I actually have one that I ordered. It was on eBay, and I saw it for a good price, but it was out of the package. And I'm going to open up the yellow one of these days. Again, Premiere gets its own showcase one of these days too, or I'll put it from one of the later premieres. I'll show this to you. So I bought it. I bagged this myself. Aren't you proud of me? So we'll put this one on the turntable as well. I'll show you the interior first. You can see again, I hope it's in the light. You can see it okay. But it does have a two-tone red and black interior. The engine is super detailed. They just detailed all of that, which is really, really cool. And then they did these Premier 5-spoke wheels. Shocks on this one too. Guess you could smash it if you wanted to. That looks pretty cool. But for a vintage toy, and this really is, I would call the Premier and the 8 dot from the 80s and 90s, they're now vintage toys. I think this thing is ridiculously nice. And I'm just gaining a soft spot for these, and I've told you I'm kind of building a little collection, and these, both of those F40s will go into the collection. So that is Matchbox. Let's continue on. All right, right now this is the only one I've got from this set, or from Tarmac Works, but this is the Ferrari F40 LM. They've done some more stock versions, and I don't collect the Hobby 64 too much, but Tarmac with IXO did these Ferraris in the same way that Tomica has the Ferrari sub-license through whoever has the license now in China. That's what Tarmac is able to do with IXO and get these cars done. And I think there's very specific rules on what they can and can't do. But doing the 24 Hour of Le Mans 1995 Ferrari LM with this pilot deco, they're allowed to do that one. So this one's still in the plastic, and I figured for this video, why not open it up? So that is what we are going to do. See, I have some, not just new Ferraris to open, but I had a Matchbox that needed to be opened from 40 years ago, 40 plus years ago. This one was out last year, so this one could use a little opening. Let's you can see licensed, right? Oh, that's a pretty decent number on the certification card. I will take that for sure, but let's move that out of the way and let's focus on this one. I'll open it up, put it on the turntable. We'll go up close first. I try and with the way this is angled, I know it's a little bit hard, but you can see details in the engine as well. Actually, pretty close to the Matchbox is pretty close, all things considered. But then you go Tarmac, obviously, it's going to take it much, much further in terms of realism with the wheels. This one, I don't know if it rolls or not. I'm not taking it off of the base. It even has the red steering wheel. I don't know if that shows up, but the steering wheel is red, seat is red in this racing car. I love the white wheels on this, because that's how it looked, right? That was the look of this car, just the Pilot Ferrari. It's just so cool. I'm not going to collect all of the Hobby 64, obviously, like I've said, but there are certain ones that will stay in the collection, and this one is one of them for sure. So we've covered, for the F40, we've covered Matchbox, we've covered Tarmac Works. Let's talk Tomica Limited Vintage, because maybe I'm doing a disservice to Hot Wheels, but I have one to open, so we'll do that. Tomica Limited Vintage has done the Ferrari F40 as well. Why don't we start with the red one? Neo, 3 Ferrari F40s. This, I actually should use white gloves no matter what with these cars, because these are true works of art. I mean, so are the Tarmac Works. But check this thing out. Not only does it just look great from a silhouette perspective, and we'll put it on the turntable in just a second, but racing seats, super detailed. Engine is super detailed. And I know this because not only does it have an opening, I don't want to say hood, but an opening front, but it also has the opening back, which would be the hood. And the engine is beautifully pieced together. So you get this one. I'll put this one on the turntable intact. I'll put the yellow one on the turntable with all of this stuff open, and then the third one we'll figure out. But there it is intact, and it's just the iconic Ferrari. Wheels perfect, model true 164. which is amazing. I mean, all of these are. I think you could probably put the Tarmac, Matchbox Hot Wheels, no, but you could put the Tarmac and the Tomica Limited Vintage together, and they would work together. But that is the red F40. Let's talk about the yellow. A lot of the details are the same. I believe this was a limited edition store exclusive, the yellow. There were less of these. It was released at the same time as the red one several years ago. I don't know exactly what the year was. Obviously, this one has opening parts. I'll show you the silhouette, then we'll put it on the turntable with the front and the back open. Just looks so cool that way. These roll around beautifully, but like I said, you just treat these just slightly different than you would any other car. And I'm talking any other Tomica Limited Vintage as well, because they're just, the F40s especially, are just on a different level. All right, one other one. Released a few months afterwards, maybe even a year afterward, and a wonderfully menacing black. This one really makes the red in the interior stand out. Red in the interior. There's the front open. There's the back open. And maybe we'll just go like that for the turntable. Just use the back, just have the back open. All the details, everything's a separate piece. I think I've mentioned this about Tomica Limited Vintage. They always want to have the car in-house. I think that's still true. So they got their hands on an F40. We're able to study it in person, the actual car, in order to replicate it in 1/64. And yeah, I mean, they're not cheap, but completely worth it, these cars. All right, that is the Tomica Limited Vintage. And now you have the very playful, and if I'm being honest, somewhat ugly Hot Wheels version. I don't have very many. I think there were several released when Hot Wheels was doing Ferraris all the time. Then, of course, Hot Wheels lost the license. I know people have asked, and you'll ask me now, are they getting the license back? There were rumors. I haven't heard anything, and those rumors seem to have died down of late, right? So let's just talk about Ferrari now. This isn't the first one I have. This one is from Boulevard, and I think this one just shows, it's kind of unfair to the Hot Wheels to show this one that the back barely even fits. It does open. That's their version of the engine. And look, this was a Hot Wheels that was designed, I mean, at least 25 years ago, maybe even more. So I think it would be very, very different if it were done now. I say if they do get the license, redo the F40, because it's so cool, and this one just doesn't do any justice. Now they're popular because, I'll put this here, they're popular because they are, well, it's a Ferrari F40 and it's a Hot Wheels, so it's going to be sought after. It's going to garner some money for sure. So it's going to cost you to get your hands on a Hot Wheels one. I just have this one because it's part of the Boulevard collection I have. And the only other ones, I have no basics. I know that they did seal the back later on of this car, but the only other ones I have are in this Ferrari Racer set. Ferrari Racers, I'll feature again. I've done some features in the past. You could probably look it up. But these were co-mold. These predated speed machines. These are all co-mold wheels. Some were sold at Toys R Us. Some were sold overseas, and it was a very difficult collection to complete. I haven't completed. I've only picked a few that I want. And there are, I don't know how many F40s, but I have two, and I have a third to open. So I'll show you these really quickly. I'm not going to worry about the engine. It's all the same. But the co-mold wheels, this one was a nice clean version in gray with a little bit of a darker stripe in the bottom. Metal chassis on these. What is the year on that? 1988. So it's even older than I thought. Done in 1988. So if Matchbox was 1990, this one was 1988. Matchbox is better than this Hot Wheels. So they were still doing this casting. They should have just started from scratch and redone it. But 1988, we're talking, you know, if that was, over 25 years old, this casting at this point, right? So a lot of old parts about that one. That's the gray one. Then they had this kind of racing one with the Ferrari logos on it, which is decent with the black rims on it. But I thought, if I'm going to be a good Ferrari collector, I need to add one other one So this is the other F40. There might be others in the Ferrari racer set, but this one was the most racing-like. So we have the, what, factory Matchbox, kind of factory Hot Wheels. We have these in-between speed or Ferrari racers. But here's a racing one to match my Tarmac works in my actual real, like the 164 realistic replica. So this, I think this meant, it's even dusty. I bought this a while ago and haven't opened it. There's the art that comes with it in the back. The rest of it was pretty generic. It's been a while since I had this, so I'm actually just trying to make sure that there's nothing else before I open this one. But let's just go ahead and do it. Some of these came with like little stickers. This one didn't. That's why I'm wondering if it was from a different market. But here it is, rear opening part, of course. But the shell livery, this one is, I mean, of the three here, this one is the best. In fact, of all the F40s I have, this one is the one I want the most. So I'm nice and happy to have this one open. Well, if we put the casting aside, this is a really nice version, right? Shell, ooh, of course, almost. The shell deco, Italian flag, number 8, roughly based on one of the racing F40s, right? They got the shell logo on it, so that's nice. So I have to put this somewhere, so I'll put this one down here at the Boulevard. I'll make some room, move over my Enzos, including that limited gold one. Here we go. There you go. Ferrari F40. That's my whole collection, I believe. It'll expand. You guys tell me what you think. I would assume if I said name your favorite that no one's going to pick the Hot Wheels, but maybe you will. We're all a little different, so it might come down to, you know, the nostalgia of the Hot Wheels or the Matchbox. The Matchbox is really good, right? I hope you agree with me. And there. You guys tell me what you think. Really, really cool. Really happy to have this collection. 412 is cool too. I should probably put that out there. There you go. Thanks, everybody. Bye.